Hey guys, Ben here, and welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 9. Today we're going to be talking about some new promo photos that have been released for the new season. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. Okay, so as I've been saying in recent videos, the DCTV show merchandise is now available. You can click the link in the description below if you want to get anything from the store. They're nice, comfy, very minimalistic, and very great to just wear for all occasions. I have quite a few of them, and a lot of you guys have already ordered, and you really like it, so I've got good feedback. And so if you haven't got any merch yet, please be sure to go ahead, buy some merch if you want to support the channel, but also get something cool for yourself. So let's go ahead and get into today's main topic. So as you guys know, The Flash is returning in February 8th, 2023 at 8/7 Central on the CW. So it's going to be premiering on a Wednesday. It's going to be sticking to a Wednesday throughout its final season. And as of right now, we know that it's going to be 13 episodes. There is really no potential for it to be extended. However, it probably is not going to run for just 13 weeks. It will run for more, because it's very likely that there's going to be breaks in the meantime. I would say at least like 3 to 4 weeks of breaks is probably likely, just based on like how many breaks we've had in the past. Last season was especially bad for the Flash, but mainly for Superman and Lois, so we'll see how they schedule it this season. So that is the update in terms of, you know, the premiere date. I did talk about that. I just wanted to start the video with that. And now let's go into these photos, and we'll also talk about the synopsis briefly, just to preface what is happening in these photos. So Season 9 of The Flash picks up 1 week after the Reverse Flash was defeated in the Season 8 finale, and Barry and Iris are indeed reconnecting. But when a deadly group of rogues descends on Central City led by a powerful new threat, the Flash and his team must once again defy impossible odds to save the day. A deadly new adversary rises to challenge Barry Allen's heroic legacy just after this, and in their greatest battle yet, Barry and Team Flash will be pushed to their limits in order to save Central City one last time. Okay, so yeah, that is the synopsis. Obviously the main threat who's going to be leading the rogues is probably Red Death. I've had time to think about this, because in my initial video on the synopsis, I wasn't too sure on whether Red Death was supposed to be the villain that comes out of the defeat of the rogues, or if it was the character who was leading the rogues. I feel like it's the character that's leading the rogues, considering Javicia Leslie was there during those episodes where the rogues were around, like some of the actors, and it very much so could be Cobalt Blue, who is that big threat that rises out of the defeat of the rogues. I don't really have a good idea about that as of right now, but something I wanted to point out before we go into these photos is, in the trailer there was this shot of a hooded person inside what is maybe CC Citizen Media. That's what me and Andy from the Flash podcast theorized about on my live stream earlier this week, which is up on the channel if you want to go watch it. If you missed it, it's on the live section. You guys can just check that out on my homepage. And so we're pretty confident that that person in the hood is probably Red Death, and that is probably our first look at Javicia Leslie as Red Death. Nothing has been confirmed. This was just a theory that me and Andy brought up on the stream. Actually, it was specifically Andy, and now the more I've had time to think about it, I think that's actually Red Death under that hood, and it's not just Murmur, who obviously we saw the mask in the trailer, so why would they wear a hood? It makes no sense. So we definitely think it's Red Death. Just wanted to point that out at the start of this video. Now let's go ahead and jump into the photos. So the photos are really interesting. We've actually got 3 photos, all coming from TV Line. They are exclusive to TV Line. I'm going to leave a link in the description below to the TV Line article, so you guys can go ahead and read everything if you want to after this video is finished. But for now, let's look at the first photo. So we have Barry in the suit, and everyone has been freaking out about this photo specifically online, because it's just such a nice photo. Like the trailer, everyone is very excited to see Barry one last time for the Flash's final season, and Grant looks so cool in this suit. But specifically, this photo is very cool because of that very big color contrast between the distinctive red and gold of the suit compared to the very blue background inside Star Labs. So I think it's a really great photo to release because it definitely got fans hyped, and that's the whole point of releasing promotional stuff before a new season. And so I'm really hoping for a poster sometime soon. They could do something like this, but obviously, you know, jazz it up a bit, I guess, is what you could say. So yeah, I don't really have too much to break down about this scene apart from Grant as Barry is looking off in the distance. I don't know if this is when someone has arrived. He's obviously got his mask off, so he's not trying to conceal his identity. So maybe it's someone he knows, potentially in trouble, or he's just arrived back and he's pulled off his mask, and that could be what's going on here. But I have one last final theory, and it's probably the most likely theory, is that he's here because he's heard the alarm going off inside Star Labs. Maybe he was in like the main bit in the Cortex, and he's come down to the Speed Lab because if you guys remember in the trailer, they actually moved Caitlin's pod from her apartment to Star Labs, because the last time that we saw Caitlin with Mark, that was in fact in the apartment, and in the trailer you saw the pod move to Star Labs. So I think that's what's going on here, because she was moved to the Speed Lab specifically, and we know it freaks out in the trailer, so it's probably Barry coming down and checking it out. I'm not sure whether this is from the first episode, second episode, third episode, fourth. I have no idea, but you can presume it's one of the early episodes. Okay, so let's move on to the next photo. This photo has also been making the rounds across social media and everything because it features Barry and Iris hugging Chester and Allegra. The meme that was going around specifically about how happy they are in this image is obviously to do with Chester and Allegra, because not everyone is a fan of their relationship, and so people were joking around online that it's a Chegra pregnancy announcement or a Chegra wedding announcement. Obviously that's probably not the case. I would say that is very unlikely considering that this relationship is very new, but I did have a good laugh about it, I will say, and I'm sure many of you guys did. But really what is probably going on, why Chester and Allegra are both hugging Barry and Iris, is because this is probably the announcement that Iris and Barry are expecting a child, and that is because Iris is pregnant. Now, this is my theory, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to agree with me, that this is probably going to be quite early on in the season. And considering that we only have 13 episodes, realistically in real time they don't actually need to have it be like 13 weeks, although pretty much normally they stick to like one big thing happens a week and that's where it will be set, and so it's like, you know, the whole runtime of the show pretty much is like real time with what is going on in reality but also in the TV show, if that makes any sense. So with the shortened season, this means that 13 weeks is obviously not that much, especially considering like you have to factor into account pretty much pregnancy normally takes about like 36 weeks. Yes, I did have to type that up because I wasn't sure of the conversion, but you know, like 9 months roughly, you all know that. So with us only having 13 episodes, that obviously isn't enough time for a child to be born. So potentially what we're going to see in this season, and with it being so short, maybe Iris doesn't even need to barely have like a baby bump all season, because she would probably only be getting a bump like, you know, halfway through the season, you know, just a tiny bit. Like it wouldn't even be that big by the time like she'll be in still her like first trimester, I think they call it, or at least going into like the second bit. And I think the reason why they will do this and why they probably don't want her to have like, you know, a big bump and like actually just be such a big part of the story is because they still want Iris to be doing stuff. Like early on during pregnancy you can do stuff, and for Iris obviously they want to do the journalism stories that they've got planned. Specifically there is one that we know with Nia Now, with Nicole Maines coming into the show. That's going to be a journalistic story between her and Iris as they investigate someone. So I'm pretty sure they've done this on purpose to time it so that it's basically not going to be prohibitive of what Iris is doing this season, but also lead to obviously the birth of Nora West Allen, as we have been teased for many seasons since season 4 when Nora first showed up. And so I'm nearly 100% sure this is exactly what's going on, and that's why they are so happy, and basically they're being congratulated by their friends at Star Labs. And the final photo pretty much confirms it too. People have analyzed this online, that Barry has got like kind of like a whiskey glass, and it seems like that's Cecile on the left. Looks like she has a different glass to Iris. It looks somewhat like a wine glass. Obviously she's kind of obscured so we can't see it, but it looks like Iris is just holding, you know, like a normal glass with like some soft drink in it. So I'm fairly certain that this is because she is pregnant, and obviously during pregnancy people don't tend to drink, they try and avoid it at all costs. So I do think that this photo actually confirms what we're theorizing about, especially in that last photo, because again, that's just speculation. It could be anything that makes them happy, but this has been something that Barry and Iris have been trying to do for quite a while now, but obviously there was a big break in that during the time that Iris was away last season due to her time sickness. But now that it's been healed, obviously they're going to take this step, I think, very early on in the season. It could totally be in the first episode, so be the opening of the season. I don't know if it will necessarily start exactly with this, but it's going to be somewhat early on, because we know that they're going to be happy at first. It's going to be a great period for Barry and Iris, but then they're going to be put through the ringer, according to the showrunner of The Flash, Eric Wallace, because obviously a lot of the threats are going to be directly related to them, and it's going to impact them as a couple, and they're going to have to try and get through it. And so yeah, it's all going to be a big deal this season, and it makes total sense that they're going to be leading towards the birth of Nora West Allen. I don't think it's going to happen on screen. Like, I think it will happen after The Flash actually airs its finale for the entire series. So we're going to be left with that kind of ending where you know everything's going to be happy for them. They're going to have Nora, and then they'll eventually have Bart. But we're just not going to see it. Pretty much similar to what they've done with Cecile and Joe's kid, because she never shows up on screen. That is Jenna, of course, because she's a baby, and they just don't want to do that, and they don't want to prohibit the storytelling avenues that they have, and I think this is exactly the case right here. So that pretty much does it for my video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do agree with me, let me know down in the comments below. Also, leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Please be sure to also subscribe if you haven't, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. We're trying to upload pretty much daily as of right now, so come back every day, watch all the videos no matter what it is. If it's Arrowverse related, I think you guys are going to be interested. So for now, if you're a fan of the channel, once again, you can get merchandise. It's in a link in the description below, the DCTVshow.tmail.com. And one final shout out to everyone who is a member of the channel and has bought merch, because you guys are the best. You go the extra mile, and it really means the world to me. So we're going to be back streaming this week, so don't miss out on anything, guys. So for now, have a happy holidays. You can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video in the meantime, and check back on the channel tomorrow for another video. So I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.